What is up, guys? So today I'm gonna talk about the feeling self-abstraction trinity. I will do with the thinking too. It's part of my series of kind of describing the words to leverage them, to make the distinction between them, because in our time we kind of not have a good vocabulary of stuff in my sense, particularly what is more like consciousness, awareness. We mix them, we mix soul, spirit, psyche. We don't have a good distinctions of things, and so we cannot leverage and push our understanding further and really have the terms narrow so we can investigate even more. So that's my thing. So it's the third video you can say of that kind of mini series. So yeah, so I kind of push the psychology, that psychology isn't the feeling self-abstraction trinity, while the thinking is more philosophy I like. So that's kind of what I'm doing. People might disagree, stuff like that. That's how I represent stuff to illustrate what I'm talking about even more, kind of. But maybe it's not the most optimal to put it right away. And in each realms, my psychology, of course, it's in the thinking, it's in the intuition, sensory, all that. But I still do it to kind of isolate it so I can push it further in my understanding and explanation. So yeah, why a trinity? I try to do models of that with trinity because the one is totalitarian, the two is a duality, a fight, or a contradiction, while the three really place things in the right order. So in my system I have the four, it is the four quadrant, and now the center is the trinity. I kind of explain and summarize the center with the three parts. And like I said, the one is totalitarian, two is a fight or a contradiction, and the four is already in the parameters. So that's why the trinity is very important and show up in a lot of cultures and stuff like that. So yeah, the feeling self-abstraction trinity. So it's the psyche, soul, and spirit. So I'm gonna go each one of them. But first of all, psychology, psyche in Greek mean mind, soul, spirit. Still not a very clean-cut understanding. Logos is more than discourse, it's study. It's actually the middle of my trinity in my sense, more like the social order, reason, kind of reason that is more transcendental, the discourse and the discovery. So I'm going to talk about that in my thinking trinity. But yeah, it's kind of the psyche and logos in that sense. So the psyche, in a sense, is the totality of the phenomena in the brain. So it's more the material, it's more ritualistic, intellectual, just the mechanism. It's more the earth in my sense, because I connect that trinity to my big trinity that is earth, logos, heaven. So psyche is more in the earth, in that big category, you can say. Yeah, so it's a concrete engine, and it's a reality that is seen and is present. But it's not the memory holder. Memory holder is more in the spirit, which is, I think is the contrary actually to my thinking trinity. But it seems to be the contrary, that with feeling, we memorize with the top, while in the thinking, we memorize with the bottom. So that's kind of a pretty interesting fashion. That's what I personally see, but maybe with time we'll see something different. But yeah. So for Carl Jung, the psyche archetype is the soul actually. A little bit more of an abstraction. But it's unseen memory, but it's the present discourse. It's more poetic, it's more logos alive. It's more the person, the heart of the person, you can say. And the psyche is more the psyche phenomenon. The soul is more the person, abstraction of the person. But it's unseen in a sense, and it's discovered. With time you discover the soul of a person, even though it's already established. It's kind of already in the reality, but it's in the abstract that, okay, it's there, but you still have a discovery process find the soul, something like that. A determination, and it represents the human qualities. Like in the reality, it's the mediator between reality and the abstract, so it's more in the middle. And it represents all the human qualities in a sense, but it's more particularized in a particular person because it's in the center, it's a mediator actually. Well, the spirit is more a representation, it's more archetypes that show higher value qualities or bad value qualities. And yeah, it's an attraction, higher agencies in that sense of archetype, you know, that they have impact on us. More like top down, because I see spirit more at the top. And yeah, it's unbound by time, even though you can argue that soul is unbound by time. I think you can argue that soul and spirit are unbound by time. But I mean, soul you can see it's determined and not determined. So this kind of weird aspect with time with soul, it's actually it's kind of chaotic time, you can say maybe for our soul. But spirit is more like it's unbound by time. But when you see the representation, it acts as a memory. So for some reason, I do see that it's abstract and seen. It's kind of unseen in a way, but when it sings, it acts as a memory. And a kind of an experience, a kind of connection, you know, which might be similar to the soul. But the soul is more in the sense that it matches the reality and the abstract. Well, the spirit is more that the memory is seen, so it will have an experience of connection with it, in some sense, with some kind of value, some kind of apparition of a certain archetype, of a representation in the mind, or just an experience that kind of have a breath of fresh air that is characteristic of something higher that you can describe as spirit or something like that. While soul is more something we can say in ourselves. It is less a memory. It's more in the sense that it's in the middle, so that you have the reality and the abstract at the same time. So yeah, it's more poetic. So yeah. So intellectual, socialistic, you can guess is the psyche. Poetic, you can guess is the soul. And spiritual, you can guess it's spirit. And it's at the top. You can see the trinity. It's in the middle, the soul. And the psyche is at the bottom. So in my bigger trinity, it's earth. This one is logos. I had a hard time finding the right word for the middle. But with time I really say, okay, it's actually logos. Even it's the same as my thinking trinity, I do think that's the best word. And kind of illustrate also the history of Western civilization. It seems to be the right middle in a way, the right way to conceptualize the middle, but it has more thinking edge to it. So in my sense, it's probable that we have a male trinity and a female trinity, but we still have to kind of represent it as a male trinity first, because it makes more sense for what I research, for what I kind of process and all. It does seem to be the case, but I'm still trying to find that out. And of course, so those one are more big categories that you can see. It's not. It might not be what you think it is, but yeah, it's more in that kind of representation of the levels and what they encapsulate categorically in our minds. So yeah. So and yeah, so the soul as the archetype, the psyche, more like totally an abstraction of the psyche that kind of illustrate the human qualities, and the abstract of that reality, you can say. And it's kind of discovered in a way, that archetype. And it does fit with what I think, that the middle is mostly something poetic. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. And I will see you on the other video with the thinking self-abstraction trinity.